Ahoy, Buccaneers and Scallywags, and welcome aboard to the Plunder. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. Tonight is Thursday. We've got the beginning of preseason week 2 starting off tonight with Philadelphia and New England. Until then, you are going to be sitting right here with me, Derek ManicBuc Stevens, my partner, BucDad over here, also 88. We appreciate you. How you been, brother?
He's doing good, man. Just getting everything put out for us right now.
Oh yeah, spreading the love, man. We got to get it done. Look. If you're out there and you're watching the show, look. Always remember to smash that like button, smash the heart button. If you can't stand the way I talk, hit the sad button, hit the mad button, hit the wow button. I don't care what button you hit, just hit the button. Go ahead and share it at your followers, highlight it. Give us the love. Tell us your opinion. Tell us what you don't like about the show.
Hey, I was gonna say, shit, bro. We love pressing buttons, bro. So we want you to press ours right back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about an array of things. Actually, something that's really been big in the news here lately is Graham Barton and our run game. Okay. Last Saturday night, our rushing attack put over 136 yards on the ground. And a lot of it was due to Graham Barton. Graham Barton's immediate impact on the run game is well noticed. Brian Baldinger, a former NFL pro, gave many praises to this guy and the offensive pass rush for what it had accomplished in the game last week against the Bengals. Every running back ate last week. Everyone. You had 2 running backs that produced a lot of yards, and one of those ended up in the end zone. You had another 2 running backs that ended up producing relief, producing maybe important or valuable yards. But one of those running backs actually crossed the end zone, Ramon Jefferson, last week, into the end zone to put the Buccaneers ahead with less than 2 minutes left, and then the Buccaneers defense ended up holding.
Wait, hold up. You can't forget the other ground touchdown, my man.
No. Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving actually got his first taste of an NFL.
I was about to say, now before we go any further, 2 things. We told you to watch out for him.
Absolutely.
What, back in April?
Yes, when he
got drafted?
First touchdown of Buccaneer season.
Hey, and 2, wasn't it beautiful that, he was able to get that ground touchdown?
Dude, I mean, honestly, looking at it when I was watching the game, it was like, cool, yeah, Bucky Irving went back. But, brother, if you really want to see an impact, and we're talking, this first topic right here is really focused on the run game and Graham Barton specifically and his impact on our run game. And the reason why I say that is I actually posted a reel yesterday that was focused on Graham Barton, had a few of his highlights. But it's also got the one where Bucky Irving scored that touchdown on there. And Graham Barton came off the line, pushed off of the defensive lineman, aided in a block, moved up to the second level because there was clearly movement, right? Moved up to the second level of the defense and took a linebacker or a safety, I'm not sure which one, and literally was in the freaking end zone before Bucky Irving, like 2 yards in front of Bucky Irving in the end zone, and literally mouthed that defensive man into the end zone. That was beautiful.
I was going to say, man, the little bit that I paid attention to Graham Barton, what I can say is I like what I see so far.
Dude, getting movement. Movement is huge because that's what's giving them the ability. That's what's giving them the ability once they get off the ball, once the ball is snapped and you get off there and you put your hands and your body up against that defensive tackle or that defensive edge rusher or that defensive linebacker or whatever he is, but you push your body on there and you get that guy moving in a direction that you want him to move in. When you've got those double team blocks, that gives that second blocker on that block the ability to step off of that block, move up to the next level to continue to create the lane that the running back's going to need to use his eyes to see to make the run. If there's no lane, they're not going to be able to hit the holes. A lot of people don't know Rachaad White this, Rachaad White that. Get the fuck off his case. There were no fucking holes and there were no movement, guys. You got to pay attention. That's what we're trying to do here. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but that's exactly why I'm here, because I want to educate the people that really don't know, just as well as talk about them. When you get off the line of scrimmage, when you're an offensive lineman, you not only got to put your hands on that lineman, but you've got to be able to move him in the direction to be able to open up the alley for the running back to be able to get through. He's got to also do his job and see those alleys and also at that moment burst through that hole. So that's a huge component, that movement that they're getting. That's a clear sign of things to come when it comes to the running game this year, because there was virtually no movement last year. He also, Brian Baldinger being also commented about rookie 6th-round pick Elijah Klein. The guard played 66 snaps, and both rookies. Yeah, dude, Elijah Klein. He's actually one of my guys to watch this week. So comment below if you're watching the show. Comment below with who you think you should keep your eyes on this week, and that's a segue for later on in the show. But Elijah Klein played 66 snaps, and they were both. You saw him and Graham Barton in the game together, and they were both mowing people. They have athleticism, which is a huge part. If you think about Cody Mock, Elijah Klein, right? And then Graham Barton. Graham Barton is a big boy. Elijah Klein and Cody Mock are similar in size, but they're way more athletic than the stereotypical guy we're used to at inside offensive line. Think about it. Just think about the names, okay? Robert Hainsey. Robert Hainsey couldn't move the wind last year. No offense. There was no movement in that interior. You could not run the ball up the middle in between the tackles as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer last year. It was so bad.
Hell no, you couldn't.
No, you couldn't. So that movement that these guys are getting off the line is helping them produce in the running game. And when I say produce in the running game and how much Graham Barton's impacting this specific part of the Buccaneers team, Brian Baldinger made a comment that said that one of the smartest players on your team needs to be your center, because when the center is one of the smartest players on the team, the offensive line plays a hell of a lot smarter too. And I'm paraphrasing there, but that's pretty much what the guy said. He's a former lineman in the NFL. Brian Baldinger played for I want to say the Ravens. I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Was it the Ravens? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But he was probably, I would say, on a star level out of 10, he was probably a 7, 6.5 to 7 on a rating as far as his career and how good of a lineman he was. He was a pretty good one. He wasn't a shitty one, but he wasn't like this spectacular lineman that comes around you see all the time. But what some would be calling a tough transition, we've pointed this out here on the Plunder. A lot of people out there were talking smack about how the transition from tackle, where he was playing in college at Duke, to the center was going to be hard. Well, first off, his natural position center. So go ahead and throw that out the window. Your research has failed you already. And then you get past that, like that first game was evident that it's seamless. Okay. His transition is seamless. He had a rough few days in practice last week. Everybody can see that. The Bucs talked about it. They had another guy in there taking first team snaps in practice for a few days, but he come out and played. And when he played, look, you can see that he did not let those 2 or 3 or 4 bad, snaps or those couple of days of bad plays, get in his head, because he really went out there and helped. Now, as far as his impact goes to Elijah Klein was a 6th round guard. Not taking away anything from Elijah Klein, but let's go ahead and clarify this. Graham Barton was drafted in the 1st round. He was clearly the best rated center coming out of college. We've discussed this on this show. Okay.
Yeah, we did.
I got receipts. Okay. What you can also count on is this guy graduated from a highly prestigious school as it pertains to the education part. Duke University is known for running basketball. They're not a huge football team, but that school as a whole, you got to have good freaking grades, and you got to really know your stuff, and you got to really lay your head into the books as well as into the program when you're a student athlete. So when you make a comment about the center need to be the smartest, and we all know football, on outside of your quarterback, 9 out of 10 times the center is typically the smartest player on the offense. There's a lot that they have to be responsible for. So Graham Barton's got that in his bag. If you watched anything on the OTAs and followed Tampa Bay Buccaneers or followed my page or 88, you've also seen that Graham Barton fit in day one with the boys. Like he fit in day one. He got in there. You know, he looks the part. He looks the part for sure because the dude looks 3 or 4 inches than half the other people on the team. You know, bigger. He's humongous. But
What's up, Brandon and Daniel?
His impact on the offensive line, in my opinion, made it possible for guys like Elijah Klein to come out there and show. Now, I also believed he was a higher rated guard than what he was taken in. But remember, we talked about this on the show before. This draft was massive, bro. It was massive with talent all across the board from top to bottom. From the first 4 rounds, you probably get, you know, round 1, 2, and maybe 3 talent. You know, that's how good this draft was. So the man graduated from a highly esteemed, you know, college. He's huge. He's very physical, and he's not afraid to be versatile, which is massively huge in the NFL. So as far as me and the Plunder, he is a big dude, and he can get really nasty, and just the kind of guy that I want to see replacing a man like Ryan Jensen at center.
Yes, sir.
Tell me your thoughts on Graham Barton.
Bro, like I said, man, just the little bit that I did get to see him play, I was impressed, man. Like the movement off the ball, the push, man, it was great. Seeing the ground attack, just bro, there were holes opening, there was movement. It helped not having Rashad White, you know, dancing in the backfield a little bit for a bit, but it was cool. You know, it was good to see the ball crossing the fucking goal, like the scrimmage.
Yeah. Like early in the game, too.
And to see Bucky Irving right behind Barton, bro, go through the end zone for a touchdown was tremendous, bro. It would have made it better being regular season, and it accounted.
Look, that play.
But the fact that he crossed that line in week 1,
yeah,
bro, that's a lot. That's going to show a lot if he gets playing time.
Huge. It's huge. And the reason why I say his impact, and not only his impact, let's back up just a hair. Liam Cohen. Liam Cohen has brought a different vibe to this offense. You can see it with every.
But I still want to see more.
Look, what I want to see is week 1, because what I'm seeing in the preseason is giving me extraordinarily high confidence, because every player, and you know, nobody's going to come out and talk. That's not the kind of team we run. That's not the kind of guys Tampa Bay brings in. They're not going to shake that locker room up like that. We get rid of those guys, or they end up taking their shirt off in the middle of the game and running off the field, i.e. AB. So that being said, you know, it's a real thing. This culture we talked about a few weeks ago, it's a real fucking thing. And that's going to be a hard thing. Keep in mind, just to segue to that conversation in the future, the culture.
Okay.
The culture and the way Tampa's been, keep that in mind about how this Chris Godwin thing keeps moving forward, man. Because I'm telling you what. But as far as Graham Barton goes, I'm 100% on board. I think he's going to be the starter in the beginning of the season. And not only that, to anybody that it matters to, and some things matter and some things don't. When it comes to the offensive line, it matters. Graham Barton was the highest rated rookie offensive lineman by Pro Football Focus with 85 plus. And Elijah Klein was number 2. We had the highest 2 rated offensive lineman rookies from this year's draft played this week. They had the highest 2 grades.
Yeah, okay. And you know what? Vernon brings up a good one, too. We've seen a good second string defense, or a good second string team, bro, against what was actually the Bengals start most of the starters.
Yeah, that first drive, you know, look, again, a lot of people are smashing on Kyle Trask for that first interception. That was the first time he'd probably seen live action. What week was it that Baker got hurt? Like 14 of last year? And he played just a couple of minutes, you know, at the end of that game, you know, or he didn't play. I want to say, no, there was one game Baker didn't come back on. There was one game Baker didn't come back on. That one other game he got hurt and ended up coming back in the game. There was one game, yeah.
Hey, let
So
me
like
help you.
the guy, it was the first drive of the season, ladies and gentlemen. Give the guy a break. He threw great passes. He hit Palmer twice for a good one. And let me tell you what, if you don't believe it, hold on, real quick.
If we're gonna talk about, let's give him a break. What about that? What about the other one that should have been intercepted?
I'm not. Look. You want to talk about interceptions? You want to talk about interceptions? I only got a problem with it. In week 1 of the preseason, I don't want to hear that shit. What you need to see is his footwork, his composure. When I say composure, the guy was 12 of 20. Okay. What's his name? Wofford. He had a little bit better passer rating, not passer rating, but a completion percentage, right? So his passer rating was a little bit higher, and he. Okay, so take this into consideration. Not the touchdown, but the deep pass to Raheem Jarrett. It was a 28-yard shot outside to the right. I don't want to say it was a fade route to Raheem Jarrett. The offensive lineman's back. He could smell the offensive lineman's underarm. All right. The defensive lineman spittled on his face through the face guard, and the dude threw a perfect pass. And Raheem Jarrett made a perfect one-handed catch.
And I will give flowers. I will give flowers for that pass.
Week 1 of the preseason.
Now, I'll say this, and I still live by it.
Okay.
What you've seen in preseason from Kyle Trask, you're going to see in the regular season from Kyle Trask. That's it.
I agree. But
and
as far as
I will disagree with you on this one too, Barton. Had he had Evans and Godwin, he'd have been great. I don't think so.
I think he would have had about the same performance.
Yeah, exactly what he had, he would have replicated. I don't think the receivers make Kyle Trask better or worse. Yes, it helps.
This week, we could also see development in growth because we should see him do better this week. So we should see him have a better completion percentage and not throw. Even if he doesn't throw a touchdown, he should throw a touchdown because their secondary is trash in Jacksonville. Okay.
It's
trash in Jacksonville.
Okay. They were showing different in practice this week.
Bro,
I get it, it's practice.
They were
practice makes perfect, right?
Perfect segue. Let's get to the announcements of the show because coming up for the next topic is week 2 and what we expect. So, in the announcements today, we've got a couple of them. I want to remind everybody, I'm going to throw out another post tonight. The Plunder Fantasy Football League, 12 men, $20 to enter. $160 pot. The remaining portion of the pot gets donated to a charity of our choosing. Another thing is this Saturday, starting preseason week 2, the Plunder will be going live 45 minutes before kickoff and immediately following the game for a pregame and a postgame wrap-up. The pregame, like I said, is about 45 minutes. We'll probably run it to about 5 or 10 minutes before kickoff to give everybody time to settle into the game, watch the game, get settled in, blah, 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 blah. The post-game show won't be as long. We're probably talking 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes tops on the show, but we will be starting that moving forward this week. So be expecting that and be looking out for that. So if you're not at the game, you'll always have some information. You ain't got to watch these big corporate guys. You can watch some true fans talk about Bucs football. And that's something that I'm highly excited for. Okay?
Yes,
now,
sir.
One more announcement. Starting week 1 of the regular season, the Plunders podcast series will be going live. I'm not sure exactly what formats we're going to be putting them up on. I'm sure there's a few that it's probably going to be on 80% of the ones that anybody out there typically gets on. But the podcast will be coming. It'll be a variant of the show. It'll be a mixture of the show. I'm not sure if I'm going to run one week, multiple times a week. I'm not sure about a schedule right now, but we are going to try to at least put one podcast out a week. So be looking out for that and anything Plunder. Coming up soon for the holidays, I hope to have my designs taken care of, my logos taken care of, and I will start to try to find a merchandiser to get some merch out there. So this is real, people. This is a big thing. This is a real big thing, and I'm trying to ask for your help to carry this wonderful topic and this wonderful team and what me and this gentleman love to do right here every week. We not only do it here, but we do it over at Pancakes and Power Bombs / be tuned in on September the 6th. There's
Can't
that.
wait for that one.
Yeah, man, let me tell you what. I'm so excited for that. I like the vibe of the way everything's moving, and I can't wait. But we'll plug everything at the end of the show. So the next topic. Everybody's on it in the last few days. There's been a lot of talk about being slung around. Who being slung around? The Buccaneers. We're previewing the preseason week 2 matchup between the Bucs and the Jags, where we have actually had a 2-day joint practice with the Jacksonville Jaguars. The game is actually in Jacksonville, so the team took a day to throw everything together, look over all the BS from the game previous week, and to make some adjustments on paper and get out there and put a plan together. And they got on a plane flight and went to Jacksonville for a couple of days, and they run 2 days on a joint practice. So that's a very big thing. They'll actually have off tomorrow, and then they'll be ready for the game on Saturday night. One of the big things that was pointed out, Chris Godwin. This is going to be a fucking huge season for this guy. He had 80-plus catches, led the team. 80-plus catches last year. Okay, a lot of people said he had a down year. He did. Mike Evans had 13 touchdowns. How did Chris Godwin had more catches than Mike Evans in a down year, bro? A down year. This guy loves crossers. He loves slants. He loves going across the middle. He loves catching the ball and getting that yak. And I'm not talking about a fucking mountain goat, bro. You know, he loves doing that. So one of the big things that I heard about the first day of practice was consistent Godwin. Like, Godwin is the same old thing. They put him back in that slot position. And this cat, yeah, absolutely. Hashtag CG14 yak, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Absolutely. You better believe it. Because this guy is one of my favorite Buccaneers. And they were actually talking about him earlier on one of the podcasts I was listening to, and their expectations of whether he'd be on the team or not, and how he's going to affect the team. Because if you look at it, you got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Trey Palmer, and Trey Palmer was drafted to replace one of those two, because the Buccaneers actually expected over the next year or two, including last year, to lose one of those two guys. Because you put it into perspective, you really don't believe you can pay, honestly, 2 number 1 receivers the money that they want. And let's be a fact, there's 28 other teams out there, and maybe I'd say 22 other teams in the NFL. That guy's a number 1 receiver, okay? He's a top 15 wide receiver, in my opinion, in the league. Especially you can bank on that now that he's been mainly put back into the slot position. So his consistency being all around is something that's being identified yet again, when it was kind of looked over last year, because he was really looked at from the organization's perspective, from his perspective, even from our perspective. He had a down year. So Godwin getting back into form and being that consistent Godwin that everybody's looking and talking about, that's really nice to hear as a Bucs fan.
Yeah.
One of the other, let me see, what's this comment Vernon said? The problem here is these teams always play rough in practice, but the Bucs should still come out on top if any of the starters play this game Saturday night. And that's something I've been paying close attention to. Nobody's asked it as of yet. I believe that's probably going to come out tomorrow, which is we won't get a definite, obviously. You never get a definite even up till game time, especially in preseason. But we should find out a lot more tomorrow as to how many, on a percentage scale, I would think, how many of the Buccaneer starters actually play. And personally, I would probably say less than a third. There's probably a very few specific. You take into consideration guys like Payne Durham. It's not a serious. We don't have any serious injuries coming into this weekend. Yeah. We have a few banged up players. Payne Durham, excuse me. Payne Durham actually has got a little knee problem. Merriweather's got a little, I think, shoulder or ankle problem. There's a few banged up players that are questionable, and guys like that are potentially looking to be starters, like Payne Durham. I don't necessarily expect a lot out of him in this game. So you can look forward to maybe K. Dotton starting and running a series or two. You can look forward to Culp, Devin Culp. The guy is going to make the team. He made so many good blocks, bro. He made so many good blocks last week. Go look at the game again. You get a chance to go watch the game again, or if you get access to game film, go watch this kid.
And I was going to say, just off of his blocking alone, bro, I was able to just look at him and go, yeah, I like him.
And he caught the ball, 3 or 4 times? But look, check this out. I got Devin Culp being the number 3 tight end on the team. I got K. Dotton, Payne Durham, Devin Culp, and then O'Keefe. I don't believe O'Keefe's as all-around a player as Devin Culp.
The only reason we got O'Keefe, bro, they even said it, man. All he does is block.
Yeah.
He'll catch the ball here and there.
He's not a trusted pass catcher.
They don't look at him as a trusted pass catcher.
No, not at all.
Like
that's the reason.
And I mean, without really putting him into the Mike Allstott thing, bro, they look at him as a Mike Allstott fullback. Just go block, except we're not going to hand you the ball ever.
Well, if you think about it, we have 4 tight ends on the roster, and we did through last year. We don't have any fullbacks, which O'Keefe came in as a fullback most of the time in those formations.
But I think that being right, I think him not being listed as a fullback compared to last year just has to do with the new scheme.
Absolutely, because I believe they're going to be running a lot of one
same position.
I believe they're going to be running a lot of 12 and 13 personnel this year. Watch. And if you for those out there that do not know, 12 personnel and 13 personnel, here's the difference. 1 running back, 2 tight ends. That's 12. 1 running back, 3 tight ends. That's 13. Okay. You got 5. So you got 3 and 4. Then you throw the 5 linemen and the quarterback, you only got 2 or 3 receivers, depending.
Yeah.
So as far as that goes, so when we say things like that, I'm going to always try to give that information out, because there's some people out there that are fresh into football. Like my wife, when I first met her, even 2 years after I met her, she still didn't understand a lot of the verbiage. And that's the reason. You just got to take a second and explain it. It's real simple. But going back to this week, they were really pushed around in that first day of joint practice, bro. They were pushed around a lot. They got really physical up there in Jacksonville, and the Bucs weren't ready. And one of the other good thing about day one was Sean Tucker. And Sean Tucker even mentioned this, I think last week after the game. Liam Cohen and his offensive scheme, they're going to run the ball a lot. We're going to focus on them running backs a lot. That's what we've been saying for years, but you can already see in the first game the implementation of that. Not just in the run game, but Bucky Irving, who caught a shit ton of passes in Oregon, and Rashad White, who caught a shit ton of passes, was a number 2 catching running back in the league last year behind Christian McCaffrey. They're going to use them in that. So from that perspective, stretching the field is really key to opening up lanes and getting the defense running back and forth as opposed to north and south. Now they're running east and west. When you're running east and west, they're not gaining any ground or keeping you from gaining ground. They're getting tired. So that's a huge benefit for this Buccaneers offense going into this season. If we can continuously stretch the field, have that defense stretched out, get those linebackers tired, those linemen gassed from running sideline to sideline, and then we run straight up the hole for 65 yards, and now we're up 3 touchdowns. But Sean Tucker in that first day of practice, in one of those stretch the field plays in a stretch pass or screen pass, ran the ball down the right side of the field, what could be considered as a touchdown. And they didn't have full pads on, so there wasn't live contact in that first practice. So it's almost like you blow the whistle. They see the guy running down there. He's going to score a touchdown, and he gets it down there. 131 yards rushing the ball last week without starting running back is pretty damn good, if I do say so. Vernon,
I agree with it.
I can't look. If I wanted to argue against it, I'd be arrested for slander. I swear to Jesus.
So, yeah, we don't do slander around here. You end up like Logan Paul. We'll talk about that more tomorrow night on Pancakes and Power Bombs.
Absolutely. So Sean Tucker.
But hang on, before you go any further, all I'm wanting to say is that 131 rushing with 2 backup running backs is great. Like I'm not downplaying it. All I'm saying is regular season. I would like to see the Bucs averaging at least 100+ yards on the ground.
135 yards a game is what you want to have with 250. You technically want 150 as a team, and you want 250. That really shows a completely even, play call.
I would be happy with anywhere between 1 to 1. Well, I'd say 115 to 150 a game. If we can average anything near that, bro, I'd be happy. Anything over 100 yards a game would be
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Better.
My expectations this season, and I'll confirm it after these next 2 weeks in preseason to really see how the depth of these players play, really true. Because if you can tell the depth players are playing really well, damn good and well our starters are going to be on point when we get there, because that's actually why they're the starters and these guys are the depth players, right? So you take that into consideration. What I'm looking for is that consistency in that run game to move into week 2 against Jacksonville. And then I'm going to look into it against Miami as well. By then, I'm going to be looking, if everything goes as I believe it will, bro, let me tell you what. I believe 135 yards average. Because you think you got a 1,000-yard rusher in Rachaad White. I don't give a shit what the statistics say. He's a 1,000-yard rusher in my book. You got him.
No, he's not.
That's semantics. We're arguing over semantics, but we'll move on. But he is, as of last year, in my opinion.
I get where you're going at with it.
Okay.
So, I won't digress away from it.
But again, like I said, it's arguing semantics at this point. But you got him, right? And then you bring in a guy that really looks sickening. Do you know the names that they were touting, the way Bucky Irving looked as he moved into these holes? I'm talking legends, bro. Shiftiness. The shiftiness of legends. Now, those two guys alone. And then you look at the energized vibe of Sean Tucker, who was brought on as an undrafted free agent last year, made the team because he was really talented, but injuries and things really hurt his ability to make an impact on the team last year, to where over half the games he didn't dress. He didn't even dress.
Well, I was going to say that, and the lack of the running game last year,
Now,
I wouldn't have dressed his ass either.
But think about it. You make the team as an undrafted free agent. You get kept on the team. You make it into the next season. This guy becomes a player on this roster. That means that production has elevated.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about the running game this year. I
was going to say, with Sean Tucker, he's one of those. He did enough to stick around, but he didn't do enough to be kicked on. Like, he did just enough to be brought back for another year after not doing nothing.
Absolutely.
He made, and I'll say this now, when we do September 1st, when we do our 53-man roster prediction, if I say his name, I'm going to go ahead and say I expect a heavier workload for him.
I agree. Well, look, again, the offense, I really got high hopes, but coming out of the first game, that was for the Buccaneers to come out in the beginning and really show their worth on offense like that was really impressive. It really gave me good vibes for Liam Cohen. It was a really great first impression for Liam Cohen and his offense, and I look forward to seeing that in week 2. Now, we're going to move on to the defense, and I got a little clip here I'd like for you guys to hear from Todd Bowles.
Braswell's been excellent since he's come on, with Joe and Yaya haven't been down. The experience and the leaps and bounds in which he gets better by the day. He's been one of the more pleasant surprises here since we've been up here in Jacksonville, and he keeps getting better and better. Love the things he's doing, love where he's at.
Okay. Now, you're going to hear a lot of stuff. And again, tamper everything that we're doing and we're talking about and we're saying because it's preseason. And what it's supposed to do is give you an insight as to what to look forward to with the anticipation of growth, not consistent results at this moment. But you're talking about a guy. This guy was questioned about Chris Braswell. Chris Braswell is a rookie edge rusher out of Alabama. Now, let me say this first and foremost. He replaced Will Anderson Jr. He replaced no scrub. He wasn't on the bench because no this guy was the defensive rookie of the year. All right.
And let me just say this: roll motherfucking tide when it comes to Braswell.
Braswell actually led the team with what was the number 56 or 66 QB pressures last year? 56 QB pressures last year. He led the Crimson Tide. And look, again, Alabama didn't do great last year. They were, when I say great, they didn't win the national championship. It's not great unless they win the national championship. They're bougie as far as their expectations. And I say that, just go ahead and follow up, that they're ranked so low that it is unacceptable to be fifth. Start the season. Just saying.
I mean, look, hey, we'll hit this real quick. This is post Nick Saban era. This ain't your typical Alabama Crimson Tide anymore, bro. This ain't what y'all have been adaptable to seeing the last, 14, 15 years.
I think they're going to be almost.
They're not going to fall off a cliff.
No.
They're not going to completely suck. But what we've seen in years past, it's going to be a step down.
I can see that.
Now, back to the Chris Braswell situation. I said this on draft night.
Yes, you did.
This dude's the motherfucking animal, bro.
Yes, you did.
Y'all got mad after we got rid of JPP. Joe Tryon ain't working out. Logan Hall's not working out. Enter Chris Braswell.
Well, Chris Braswell was talked about by a lot of analysts, professional football analysts, as being one of those guys, but had a learning curve because of his late start in getting that live action. They believed it was going to be a high learning curve, which is very possible. And he could have a very similar year to Yaya, to where it's mid to late season when he really catches on. He could actually not really catch on until the offseason and the transition from year one to year two. Because even Yaya said it, and health plays a big factor. So being able to stay healthy is going to make a huge impact on the way his production goes. But Braswell, with his lengthy arms and his quick jump off the ball that first day, ended up getting what was perceived as a sack. He actually pushed the offensive lineman against Trevor Lawrence and grabbed onto Trevor Lawrence. They blew the whistle. And these kind of practices right here, especially in a half-dressed practice, a half-suited-up practice, they don't put those guys in the availability to be injured a lot. So things like that, they see an edge rusher get to the quarterback, put their hands on him. The referees out there, they'll blow the whistle and basically call the play dead. But the guy actually pushed the offensive lineman into Trevor Lawrence to get the sack in practice. Now, again, it's practice, but his power to speed ratio is stupid. I mean, he's strong as an ox, but he's fast as hell. Like his quickness, he reminds me of a Nick Bosa. The way he shoots across that line, he is so fast. And I've seen this from his college days. But he's got power to actually put an offensive lineman on his ass when he bull rushes him too. So Trevor come in and said, "Bro, Chris is a dog. Much respect to that elephant. That quick step and the slide is going to kill O-line." Yes, sir, Trevor. I totally agree. Trevor.
So back there, there's my prediction right there.
Defensive Rookie of the Year for Chris Braswell. And look, that's not far-fetched. And the reason why I say that, the Buccaneers are tremendously desperate for pass rush. So Chris Braswell, and you heard what Todd Bowles said, Chris Braswell has been the most impactful pass rusher since Yaya and Joe Tryon got injured and has been kept out of practice. He's been the most productive one. So he's my number one guy to look out for this Saturday. The number one guy. The only problem I got with the Bucs ain't showing any rushing the passers, which is why the Bengals did so well last week. Vernon, I agree with that. That's one of the things that I noted when I was on the Bucs report. I did my post-game report on the Bucs report, and you can find that on bucsreport.com, is that the Bengals actually had 3 sacks. And I didn't even count the pressures. I didn't even go back and look at the stat of the QB pressures. But just the sacks alone, it was 3-0. We didn't have any sacks. We had a few QB pressures, but we never could get our hands on the quarterback. But that is also another piece of evidence as to why Chris Braswell Logan Hall actually stepping up his game and going into year 4. Chris Braswell's production and Yaya's health is highly pivotal. And again, he's got an ankle injury, a foot injury. So when Yaya comes back, he's not going to be 100% for probably another 3 to 4 weeks. And as long as he's playing on that ankle, he's not likely to be 100% until at least mid to late season, if he's even going to get back to 100%. So that will affect him. But we have to be able to produce pressure on the quarterback, not from the safeties and not from the cornerbacks. We have to get it off that edge. We have to get it from the interior line, as well as from the safeties, as well as from the linebackers in the middle. So that's a huge part of what Chris Braswell is going to be adding to when we move forward in the preseason and watch his production. The rush defense did rather well this past week, so I expect good things moving forward with the rush defense to continue that. And I don't expect Travis Etienne and Jacksonville to have a really highly volatile rush offense in this particular game. Travis Etienne is probably one of your top 15 backs in the league without a question. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's shifty and quick, and he's powerful. He can run through you. So between that and the secondary, they did pretty good last year. They gave up 2 big passes. The same cornerback, he's also another Buccaneer, and we'll keep him high on, Josh Hayes. Josh Hayes gave up the 2 big pass plays that really was the only point of their fucking offense last week outside of Joe Burrow's first drive. That first drive, Joe Burrow put him on the board. They didn't do shit outside of those 2 passes. Those 2 passes were the only reason those drives gave them the ability to score in those moments or be a threat to score. And they were to a rookie, but the defender on both of those plays was Josh Hayes, number 21. Keep an eye out for him in the Bucs secondary, because he will also get a lot of reps again this year moving forward. Now, players to keep my eye on. The Plunder. Who are your players to watch for during the – look, great minds think alike, 88. The players to keep an eye on, I've got 2 on offense and 2 on defense. This week, Trey Palmer and Elijah Klein. I'm looking for Trey Palmer to get more than 2 catches. I'm looking for him to be a big part. I want to see him get in the end zone this week. That's what I want to see out of Trey Palmer. Trey Palmer is still listed as a number 3 wide receiver. And if you think about this, we've talked a lot about Chris Godwin going off. Trey Palmer, Jalen McMillan, and Mike Evans. If those 2 young cats get off this season, that's going to make it so much easier to move away from Chris Godwin. But it's all going to be up to Chris Godwin at the end of the year. If he's going to be willing to take good money, but take what the Bucs are willing to give him, I'm sure the Bucs are going to keep him around. Look at the foundation we've laid out. So as far as I'm concerned, Trey Palmer and Elijah Klein on offense. On defense, we've mentioned them before, Chris Braswell and Josh Hayes. So, ladies and gentlemen, I can't wait. We'll actually do predictions on the score on the pre-show, so tune in live for that. 45 minutes before game start. I don't have the time. If you can, before we leave the show, if you could figure out what time the game start is so we can actually give a time for the show to start, that'd be cool. What we've got now.
Listen, you want to know when the show starts, man, follow us. Hit the fucking notification button and turn on all the alerts, bro. We'll tell you when we go live, but.
What he said.
But.
What he said.
It's a 7:30 game. We'll go live at 6:45.
We'll go live at 6:45. That's 5:45 Central Standard Time.
But still, smash that notification bar, man, and
absolutely.
Like.
If you hit all posts. If we go live, I make a post. I do anything. You'll get a notification for it, and you won't miss out. I promise you. So, what we've got now is we're introducing a new little spin to the show. And look, there's 32 teams in the league. We talk about one team here, but we also have players that we follow, and we both follow football.
Hang on before we go any further. One last question from our Friday night co-host.
Trevor says, question, do we stick with the fuck up, or do we look to change preseason or not? First off, where you been? That's the wrong last name, bro. It's McLaughlin. And yeah, we stick with McLaughlin. He brought, to go about what he said, first off, he might have been trolling right there, and that was funny as fuck. But I just wanted to make sure that the rest of the audience knew that it was Chase McLaughlin who is our kicker. Chase McLaughlin missed his first kick. They brought another kicker on this past week. Note to Bucs Nation, and I quote from Todd Bowles. He was questioned about why he brought another kicker.
Trevor said he was trolling.
I figured he was trolling, knowing Trevor. But
heel turn.
Absolutely. A classic heel turn. Keep looking out for that on September the 6th, guys. But suck up. That was really fucking good. McLaughlin missed his first attempt last week, right? And we've been through a lot in the last 5 to 10 years with kickers, and it's been a struggle. Since Janikowski left, we haven't really had a great kicker.
Since who left?
Not Janikowski. My bad. Janikowski.
I'm not gonna lie. Even though we had Gramatica in that time frame, I wish we could have drafted Janikowski because I would have loved that, bro.
Dude, Janikowski as a Buccaneer kicker would have probably won us 20% more games, like instantly. No offense to Gramatica.
From the time Gramatica left,
his nickname Gramatica is his nickname for a reason.
Well, I was gonna say after Gramatica left. It took us a minute to get a kicker. Janikowski would have still probably been rostered.
Yeah.
And we really didn't get back over the hump with the kicker until Matt Bryant, and even that backfired.
One of the baddest kickers in the history of the league. He wasn't the greatest, but he was one of the baddest. That dude could kick the fucking shit out of a ball.
Dude, you talking about Janikowski?
Yes, sir. Yes,
bro,
sir.
Dog, he had a leg to him. But
well, listen, getting off the kickers, I want to let everybody know to first off, hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, smash the like button, share this shit, comment below, anything you can do to show your support. We'd appreciate it. If you don't like my opinion, put it in the comments because, I'll go back to every page this is shown on. And I will hit your comment, and I will answer you. If I can't do it here on the live, if we don't bring it up, BucDad does a real good job of bringing the comments up so I can answer them live on the show. But if they don't get caught live on the show, or even after the show, or after the show's live and you go in and watch, man, hit that comment. Let me know because I will come back. And I'm living on my social media right now to where it's gonna be a hindrance to my professional life. So I'm always on here, guys. Always, never hesitate to give me your opinion, good or bad. But what we're doing now is because there's 32 teams in the NFL, we want to be fair across the board because I do love the game of football. We all have a passion for the game of football. We're bringing a new segment in called The Other 31. And The Other 31 is going to be a little segment where we bring in topics from all across the league. And we won't elaborate as deep as we do on the Buccaneers, but just a few news and notes. And something we will always try to introduce into this segment is one of our divisional foes, if we can, if there's news about them. And conveniently enough, this week, there is some news about a divisional foe. You have the Atlanta Falcons, who really look to be imitating the recipe of success that the Buccaneers used in 2020 with making all those splash moves. There's a lot of criticism on them in their draft and the way they turned out, not just the drafting of Michael Penix Jr. in the first round when they just signed a 7-figure quarterback, an 8-figure quarterback, your 9-10-figure quarterback, whatever it is. He's a $100 million quarterback. And then they drafted a QB in the first round. But they actually picked up Matt Judon. They made a trade for Matt Judon yesterday from the New England Patriots for the 3rd-round pick. They also today signed free agent from the Denver Broncos, Justin Simmons. So now, and a lot of people were talking about how Justin Simmons and Jesse Bates, da-da-da-da-da. Let me give you a little insight on this and how it could work, but it might bomb on their ass too. They are both core the same positional players. Jesse Bates and Justin Simmons both naturally play strong safety. just because you're lined up at free safety across the other side doesn't mean anything. Bullshit. Those assignments, the way you move, the guys you got to watch out for, that's a different line. So it could work. You got the same set of skills on two different guys that are naturally able to run the same position at a high level, because both of these safeties are really good safeties in the National Football League. You can't say enough about a player like Jesse Bates. But then Justin Simmons comes in, who's also probably a top 20 safety in the league. So keep an eye on that moving forward. Horrible news, because he was probably one of my favorite quarterbacks to come out of college this year, just because I like the story, I like the underdog, and because this guy was naturally looked on as an underdog because of where he played. J.J. McCarthy actually went down, and this is very close to my knee, not my heart, but my knee, went down with an MCL injury in week 1 of their game, and it wasn't positive whether they were going to be able to do a total reconstruct, or a repair. And they wouldn't know that until they went in to do the surgeries. Well, they went in to do the surgery. He came out 5 hours later, and he was out for the season with a total knee reconstruction. My question to Viking Nation, does Jettis regret the extension?
Hey, but my question, though.
Like, damn.
Who do you get, though, to come into Minnesota? And I'm hearing one name.
No, you don't get anybody. They've already got him. Sam Baker Mayfield Darnold on his 1-year proven contract.
All right. Well, I'm gonna, to be fair, the name I was hearing and reading was them trading somehow to New Orleans to get Derek Carr.
That would probably be New Orleans' best move, because it would give Carr a better offense. He doesn't fit in that team. He doesn't fit in that locker room. He hasn't fit since he went there. He's a better quarterback than what he's actually played. I trash on him a lot. He's not what everybody might have said he was out in California and L.A., but he's a decent quarterback. I believe he's a starting NFL quarterback, but he's in a bad position. Now, at the same time, that's sketchy. Because, see, who would that leave New Orleans going with? What is it, Spencer Rattler.
Spencer Rattler.
I said Ritter. Spencer Rattler. And he actually played pretty well the other day in preseason, so that could be something you look forward to.
Spencer Rattler, I'm a big fan. I mean, I'm not going to be a big fan of him being in New Orleans.
Right,
but
no doubt.
College, bro, I liked watching his game, bro.
That air raid style offense, boom, 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 boom.
But I don't think New Orleans has that type of offense anymore. You got rid of old Slab boy.
Yeah. Look, they got a couple of decent receivers, and you kind of got to question their running back room right now, because Alvin Kamara's getting old and up in age.
But
their offensive line's banged up. Their defensive line, their defense is old, but they're still going to make a little noise. They'll make a little noise in division, because you can't ever count out a divisional foe, ever.
They'll be in the division race. They'll be in the wild card, but they'll be left second place, third place at best, or at most.
Yeah.
In the division. I still think Carolina's the dumpster of the NFC South.
Absolutely. And look, guys, this caption on the bottom, I want to repeat this. Remember when Buc Nation was having a problem with, why ain't Tristan Wirfs playing? He should be out there, da-da-da-da. He's holding out, da-da-da-da. And there was so much chaos. Now, granted, a guy like J.J. McCarthy really needed to be out there on the field, but that injury that cost that guy the most important position on a team, the quarterback, a whole season. This is why organizations and players in the position of a Tristan Wirfs, or have the option of maybe or maybe not playing, to put themselves in jeopardy. That's why, guys. That's why. It just like that. Just like that.
Hey, you know what, man? I think J.J. McCarthy was probably one of the rookies I was wanting to see this year.
Dude, I really believe they got a decent offense over there in Minnesota, and I really thought he was going to compete for the Rookie of the Year.
I was going to say, I think he was probably that rookie quarterback that I was the most interested to see. Like, what they were going to do. Like how
You want to know my sleeper? You want to know my sleeper? He's playing tonight, the quarterback, because usually it's a quarterback, wide receiver ish that typically.
Oh yeah, football's on, huh?
Yeah, Drake May. Drake May is my sleeper. I'm a quiet Drake May fan. I'm an undercover quiet Drake May fan. Keep an eye on him. I believe he's going to be starting very early in the season. I believe that culture's been is in the midst of changing over there. Gerard Mayo's going to do good things in New England. So keep a lookout for that. One of the last bits of news on the other 31 that we have today is the question of Brandon Ayuk. Do you really think they're going to give him up, or are they going to stand their ground and make him stay in San Francisco? And if they stand their ground, do you see Brandon Ayuk playing, or do you see him holding out? Me personally, if I'm looking at it from a logical perspective, and he's got to look at it, I see, if anything, he might hold out a couple of weeks, but every day you hold out, you lose money. You know, every day you hold out. Then the game you hold out on, that's 3-4 times the amount of money you lose on a practice day that you
now
lose.
See, okay, right now, my position on this, and that I think this comes from.
They made a mistake giving Debo that money.
Hang on, this comes from watching that documentary Receivers on Netflix.
Okay.
Just because of that documentary, where I think my two favorite players out of that became Deebo Samuel and George Kittle.
Okay.
That being said, they were showcasing with Deebo being out. They highlighted, how Brandon Ayuk stepped up and became the type of player that he was last season, as we remember.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with him sitting out right now. But at the preseason, if you're not playing, you're either IR and you ain't getting paid, or you get traded.
Do you think their Super Bowl hopes fade, and how much do you see it fading if they trade Ayuk and move off Ayuk? Because honestly, I don't see them player for player. I see more so of a money comp and like, I
don't see Brandon Ayuk really shifting how San Fran goes about their game. I mean, yeah, he showcased himself last year.
I think he's the number one wide receiver out there.
Yeah, he was. And why was he the number one receiver in San Fran last year at that time frame? Who was missing?
Debo.
You put Debo on the field, he's automatically the second.
But Debo's advantage in that aspect is he's versatile, which you got to give Debo the credit. But at the same time, if you want to compare
on that, they stated on the documentary, bro.
Absolutely.
The entirety of Deebo Samuels is 80% of San Fran's game plan. They have if Debo's playing and if Debo's not playing, part of every bit of that game book.
I believe so. I personally think Ayuk will play in a San Francisco 49ers uniform this year.
He'll play.
Just like I don't think
he wants the money.
Just like I don't think, and listen to me, Buck Nation, hot take, Hassan Reddick is not the dude. What you want to do is continue to develop this youth on this football team and then have a lot of dead cap money cleared off on this free agency. Then go get you one of them premier edge rushers to add on to this youth if need be. Because
okay.
I don't see us needing it by the end of the season, man.
I know where you're going at with this, and I hope you're not jumping on that train, bro.
Hassan Reddick is overpaid.
Look.
He wants to be overpaid.
And I get it.
He's 30 years old.
You feel like you're just like, what's his name in Dallas?
DeMarcus Lawrence? Or Micah Parsons?
Micah Parsons, yeah.
He ain't nowhere near.
He ain't that dude.
Parsons. No.
So you ain't getting paid to be that dude. Okay. This kind of relates to the whole Devin White topic, and I know, I seen what Blake Anthony posted up, and I respect it because Devin White played his ass off and his game slipped.
You notice I never trashed Devin White on my page.
Hang when it comes to that, Devin wanted to be valued a certain way. We weren't valuing him. He went to Philly. Cool. Hassan Reddick has that same mentality.
Yeah.
I'm
Definitely.
not saying I think Devin going to Philly is going to showcase who Devin White really is. And I'm not
Absolutely.
saying that negatively. I'm saying Devin's game is going to be showcased on a higher level in Philly than it was here.
I agree. And to give my
Now,
piece,
you get Hassan Reddick, what you need to do is let that dude play for the Jets, become humble,
Jets ain't fixing to
and
let
then
him
if
go,
he
bro.
produces, then you can go get paid, big dog.
He has no leverage. He has zero leverage. He got traded from a team that wouldn't give him an extended deal
Yeah,
because they wouldn't meet his
hey,
price.
Vernon's right. Vernon's right. Hassan Reddick is nothing more than Matthew Judon 2.0.
And he's 30 years old. He's only 2 years younger than Matthew Judon. And look, on that Matthew Judon thing, Matthew Judon tweeted out today, or it was Instagram or Twitter, has anybody ever failed a physical for a broken heart? Does that tell you how happy he was to be traded? So what we need to do is move on to the last segment of the show because we're coming up on time. And what we're going to talk about now is how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers outreached to the fan base on a day of celebration. What day was it of celebration? National Creamsicle Day. Guys, I ain't talking about no popsicle on a stick. We talking about the Creamsicle Buccaneers.
Hey, it was also National Navajo Wind Talker Day, but nobody wanted to talk about that.
This guy. So, National Creamsicle Day. What the Buccaneers did was they put on a celebration and invited all the fan base out there. And our boy, the producer of the show, Mr. BucDad, made an appearance. Give us a little bit of information about what you've seen in your experience, my man.
I mean, last year's was a little bit better, in my opinion.
Right.
The way that it was presented last year. Now, we didn't stay, but an hour? Because, bro, it is too fucking hot to be doing that shit by the water when it's no fucking rain. Like, I know it sucks being out there in the rain, but I would rather them do it on, like, an afternoon, because when that sun starts to go down, bro, it really does suck in that area. It is hot as fuck.
That humidity stays around for a minute.
Bro, and everybody, that was something we were all talking. A couple of us left just because of the heat.
Yeah.
And
that's something that nobody can
control. What I thought was dope was they added that skating rink, which was cool. They added a couple more little vendor carts.
Right.
Now, merchandise wise, that new baseball jersey, that might be a must have.
Ooh, I gotta go check that out. I ain't seen it
That
yet.
that is very clean for for what what the price is on it.
Yeah.
I like it. I've seen it in person. That might be the only Bucs thing I get this year.
Right.
But I was hearing a couple people say they need to bring back the white creamsicle.
Yeah.
Which I think would be lit.
That would be nice.
Overall though, like I like that they do it. Last year's though, again, I feel like they did more promoting in a shorter period of time.
Right.
Because they had that El Camino running around from Peel and Curry. Or Peel and Curry, whatever winery. They had that going around downtown Tampa handing out creamsicles. They even had it at the creamsicle celebration. There was a lot of last year's I think was set up a little bit better, but this year's was a marketing ploy more this year. You could tell that they had to make it extensive because they really did promote that shit.
Makes sense.
I mean, it makes me excited for the creamsicle game. I want it more than just one game a year, though. because I might be a little biased, but you need to bring back that white creamsicle as well. You need to allow us to have a home creamsicle game and an away creamsicle game.
Right.
And then the same way that we institute the pewter, we need to institute the creamsicle. Make that a more regular thing.
Makes sense.
Yes, they should have had Wicked Oak out there too. That was one thing that they didn't. Now Felix from Wicked Oak was out there, but last year, man, I felt like his trailer was more like forefront. And I don't know, being in Tampa and knowing Wicked Oak now, I feel like they really elevated the barbecue game out here.
Yeah.
So I do hate that they didn't have him out there for food.
Right, dude. Wicked Oak, and again, he actually is the official food sponsor of the What the Buck tailgate.
Yes, sir.
Which is one of the is actually the one and only Hall of Fame tailgate in the Tampa Bay area. So you can always find Wicked Oak on a Sunday when the Bucs are playing in town at the What the Buck tailgate. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been the end of our show. I want to appreciate and thank everybody who has taken the time to come in and comment, sit through the whole video, the whole live show, sit through part of the show. I thank you. Please smash the heart, smash the thumb, smash the angry face, cry if you got to. If you are an emotional wreck based on the information we've given you, smash those buttons, hit the share, follow and like. I've actually got a new page dedicated to the Plunder. It's the Plunder EST 2023. It's actually EST 23. So the Plunder EST 23. If you like the new, if you're friends with me on the Plunder Facebook page, it's actually attached to it, so you won't have a hard time finding it. I'll actually go after the video and I'll post a link in the comments of this video to that profile, to that page specifically designed for the show. It's for everybody to come in and post anything Bucs, anything we talk about, any of the information on the show you're going to find in that page. So keep in mind that. I want to throw a plug out to the YouTube page for Eighty8. Real, REEL, EIGHTY, the number 8, at REEL, EIGHTY, the number 8. The Plunder YouTube page at the Plunder 2023. The Plunder Instagram, everything Plunder at the Plunder 2023. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. You can find me
OnlyFans.
Huh?
What?
No, that's only on Tuesdays. Only bring that up on Tuesdays. Only bring that up on Tuesdays. It's a Tuesday special. Kind of like T-Mobile. But I want to
speaking of that, speaking of plugging everything, while we still got 2 seconds to do, or a couple seconds to do this, just let me go ahead and tell everybody, man, September 6th, we're taking over Friday nights in a different way than y'all ever thought of. Friday nights are never going to be the same again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You got to tune in. If you like wrestling, tune in. Tune in.
And we're going to be closing the show out with the promo pack, the promo video for September 6th. I will see you tomorrow night for Pancakes and Power Bombs after SmackDown.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you once again for being the production crew that I've always needed in my life, and this show has always thrived for. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Once again, one more time, if you need to find anything related to the Plunder, you can also find me at www.bucsreport.com. You can always go there. You can read the follow-up article on the show and always check all of my contents and links on there. Everybody have a great night. We'll see you Saturday for the pre-show. We're out.
Sun's coming up as you look to the skies, go down to the water and bathe in the light, oh my love, oh my love.